to say that.
Yeah. All right. So here we are in game number 1 of tonight's semi-finals, I believe. Was this the quarters?
I'm not. I'm not actually sure the way I rushed home. So if you could check the
Yeah,
brackets for me, I would be most grateful to you, sir.
I'll do my best. It could be a quarterfinals because I'm sure one of the games did get held back because one of the players had to go, so they wanted to do it today, I think.
Yeah, I know. I just don't know which players those were.
Yeah. Alright, so it is Strelok v Ourk, and of course we saw Strelok play yesterday, and I was saying about the tweet that someone played him. So I wonder if he's going to go for the proxy racks into the Hellbat drops again, which he did yesterday. Which is it was quite a good strategy, as we saw.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a proxy this time. His SCVs, all of them are staying back in the home base. Strelok probably not going to risk it, but he is taking that. Wow, 11 gas.
11, yeah.
So yeah, he will be going for a Reaper straight off the bat. There is no doubt about that in my mind. Now that I have seen that refinery. Ourk playing standard, you know, going to take the first hatch, going to build a pool, going to build a gas, and basically until he has enough gas and lair started, we cannot actually know what he will do. But Strelok, there's a lot of things he can do until that lair comes up.
Pretty much. And interestingly enough, Ourk has not gone for his drone scout, so like a lot of time we do see that. He's playing it straight up like, okay, maybe he knows that he's going for Reapers and he doesn't have to. And this is, of course, you know, playing the player, not the race. So that is a possibility. We have no gas yet. We actually have a pool before gas if that is the case. So maybe he could go for, I don't know. This is interesting. Because normally we've seen a gas like every time. Like every time.
Yeah, and we are, what is more interesting, we are still not seeing any assimilators being built. I mean, extractors. No. And that is really curious to me. Normally, Zergs go for that gas as soon as possible. Can we maybe see a third base before gas? That would be a really ballsy move to make, but I don't see any drones heading out of Ourk's base to take that third base, so maybe a 4-queen opening.
That is a good possibility. I'm thinking maybe a spine crawler as well, just because he's going to need something to buff up, so like, you know, the drones don't get attacked straight away, but queens of course can do that. We do also have the command center being dropped, which Ourk has now spotted, and the Zerglings do pop, attacking the Reaper, and of course the Reaper has to run away, fight off creep, and is going to probably get 1 or 2 kills with these Zerglings and then come back. We do have the second Reaper now popping and running across the map, third in production, and a factory being added into the mix.
So, first 2 queens are about to pop. I'm going to be still no gas, so I'm going to be watching. Yeah, we do have another set of queens, so it is a 4-queen opening. Very good opening to go for if you know for a fact that your opponent is going to go Reapers, because you are going to need a lot of those queens. And you know, queens versus Reapers, that's a pretty good defense. I mean, those Reapers will not be very useful for the longest time, since now double gas being taken inside the natural, as Strelok establishes his own natural, goes for a very fast third CC, and this factory most probably will start pumping out Hellions as soon as the reactor finishes. Oh, it's going to be Widow Mines before then.
Yeah, he's just doing that while the reactor gets finished. And you're right, I like, you know, you're right with saying like queens can offer very good defensive posture for the Zerg. The only thing you have to be very careful of is if, of course, you know, we have 3 Reapers now, they run in, do a bit of damage, run out, heal, and then come back and try and finish the queen off. And that can happen. We have a couple of drones getting taken out. There is 3 here, so that is a 2-shot for the Reapers. And, you know, 2 drones, nice little snipe there. And the first Widow Mine, the reactor, or factory landed on the reactor, and it is going to be Hellions. We do also... No, we don't have the armory. I thought we had an armory then.
Oh, it is a second factory, so Strelok going mech here versus Ourk. Ourk is taking his third base just now. His lair will be late. Of course, this is what normally happens with this kind of build, with this kind of opening. But The Reapers are going to provide very much needed info for Strelok in just a couple minutes, unless he decides to gather that info while attacking with these Hellions, for example. And they are moving out right now, joining up with the Reapers, so Strelok is definitely going to put on at least a moderate amount of pressure, I feel like. Meanwhile, double evolution chambers going down for Ourk and a Roach Warren. Nice of him to try to constrict the path for the expected Hellions. He will need that partial ramp block.
I've seen Reapers with Hellions quite a lot, and actually one Queen getting targeted down, that will go down. There is a lot of Zerglings, no Roaches, as the Roach Warren isn't complete yet, and there is no Spinecrawler either, so Ourk has to be very careful. The second Queen getting taken out, which is a pretty big snipe. We do have +1 Carapace and +1 miss. That ranged attack, and Ourk had a really good scout as well. There was only one Marine that got produced as the Overlord flew in, so Ourk saw everything of Strelok, so he knows what's going on. And the third just getting scouted, but Ourk is a little supply blocked, so he's trying to produce Queens, but he's just waiting for those Overlords. And more Hellions. Ooh, takes him up to 7 Hellions with 3 Reapers.
That is quite a lot of Hellions, and with these Reapers, but the Roaches will start making an end of this. But the transition for the turn is already in place. We do have the armory down, we do have tank production started, and this is a really ridiculous sight, seeing Roaches getting taken out by Hellions. It's like, Roaches counter Hellions, and Hellions say, well, there is more of us, run.
Yeah. Now the third base has been landed at the third for Strelok, so you can start mining from that soon. He hasn't taken out the rocks or destroyed the rock tower, so he would have a very hard time defending that against a run-by at the moment. And he is going to be playing mech. He hasn't got his armory yet, or sorry, he has, but he's not upgrading from it, which is obviously something you want to be doing if you're going for your mech. You know, have your mech upgrades.
True, I think he only got the armory for these Hellbats that are just now rolling off the line, and so far it looks like Strelok is going for a rather heavy 3-base timing with a lot of them. Hellbats are quite sturdy. Oh, wait a minute! A 4th command center, what the?
Why not?
That is true. I mean, Strelok, he means to be expanding every which way very, very quickly, and you know, this actually makes a lot of sense if you're going mech, because you need a lot of bases as a turn if you're going mech. You need the gas.
Yeah, that is very true. Mech is, of course, the gas is the most important resource within that. You have to, I can't think of the word, you're dependent on the gas, pretty much. So you always have a lot of minerals, and that's why you see loads of command centers coming out pretty early, because, of course, they can, you know, afford it. Alright, so Ourk looks like he's just playing pretty standard, just trying to react to what he does see. We do have the Hydra Den in production, 2-2 in production, and of course Roach speed. Third base is now being mined from saturated and gas is being taken, and this Roach will pop at the 4th base of Ourk. There is a Widow mine right below, and Overseer coming in to clean it up so that base can be taken. And yeah, it looks like we should have a decent timing attack coming out of Strelok. I don't know when he's going to go for it just yet. He's got a lot of tanks, Thors, and his +1 weapons. So, you know, he's got a pretty potent army. He's just, I'm guessing he's waiting for a bit more critical mass of tanks. And these Hellions and Reapers are not going to escape, not getting many kills, just a single Roach.
They didn't delay the expansion either, so probably that's what Strelok was looking to do, sneak a couple of Hellions in there and kill the drone before it actually builds the base. But he did see that the rocks are still in place, so of course they are going to be taken care of right now, but as far as Strelok sees, the rocks are still up. That is a good piece of information, by the way, to have if you are playing an attack. Wait a minute, we have double infestation pits. This one, yeah, this one needs to be cancelled.
Ooh, that's a bit of okay. You probably changed his build slightly, wanted a faster infestation pit than normal, and then of course through habit just built the normal one at the second time, and there we are. It does get cancelled, and that is not. So it's funny when that happens. Normally it's like, as a Protoss, it's always your Twilight Council. As a Zerg, it's like your Roach Warren or your Infestation Pit. There is, I think, is that a drop? Yeah, there is a double Hellbat drop headed towards either the 3rd base or the main. And in the meantime,
Oh, it is going to be taken out by the couple of Hydras that were there. Now, remember, with this Overlord positioning that Ourk has, and this fantastic, phenomenal creep spread, he sees every attempt at aggression that is coming his way. And now the drop was shoot away from the 4th base of Ourk. And if we look at the upgrades, I mean, muscular augments for the Hydras are just now finishing, and Ourk has been pumping a lot of those Hydras in the past 2 minutes. If we look at the upgrades, it's 2-2 for the Zerg, only 1 attack upgrade for the Terran vehicles. And the army of Strelok is not all that big. The army supplies are actually quite even, considering how long mech takes to produce.
yeah.
And remake when you lose that army. I'm just waiting for the Vipers to appear, and then I think Ourk is just going to start attacking, to prevent the mech army to get out of control and to gain any sort of traction, momentum, and build up size.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And, you know, it is getting a point where this mech army is going to be very, very potent and cost efficient, so Ourk is going to have to start doing stuff. And of course, Hydra Roach is okay, but against, you know, like a crap ton of tanks that Strelok has, it can end pretty badly. Now, we do have a double armory, so we do have the 2 upgrades coming per cycle now, and drilling claws for the Widow Mines, which is always very nice, as crocodile clips, as Kalaris always calls them. And Ourk is also taking his 5th base. You know, his economy is pretty good. He's got 84 drones. He can afford to make a few spines in a bit. And what's his lava count like? He's got a decent lava bank, so he can afford to, you know, remax once he has.
Well,
a
we have
trade.
20 larvas available for Ourk, and he's on 82 drones. Those Vipers are getting a little bit ahead of themselves, though, straying too far forward. One of them almost taken down, but in the end will not be. Ultralisk Cavern going down, a 3rd evolution chamber, so as to have all those melee upgrades ticking away. But we have what looks to be an engagement in the center. Ourk being a little bit careful here. I cannot say I blame him. Mech is really strong. There are Widow Mines about, and Hydras are really squishy. If a Widow Mine were to explode in the midst of that blob, it would most probably kill like half of them.
These Vikings, they have to be very careful. They're going for the Overlord, but the Hydras came down to get the command center, and they're actually going to get the command center. It's not going to be saved, and wow, they killed command centers ridiculously fast. And that was actually a really big snipe. That was quite important. Of course, Strelok is on 4th base. He's got extra command centers in the main, so he's not really going to miss that command center. It's just the fact that, you know, he wanted to mine from another base. And a little pack of Hydras left at this base will do a bit of damage. Oh, those Widow Mines getting good connections. Now this base, the 5th base for Ourk, is priority number 1 now for Strelok. I think he's going to be able to take this out, guaranteed. There's so many tanks, but he's got to siege them up. Everything's incoming. Blinding Cloud gets chucked down, and a couple of Widow Mines do connect with some of the units up flank as well. Continuing with the Blinding Clouds, the tanks can't really do much, and I think Ourk will have a really good trade in a second. But
well, he needs to get the Hydras in the range. Those Blinding Clouds basically force the tanks to move backward and backward and backward. But there's just not enough Hydras to take these number of tanks. But with the follow-up reinforcements, I think Ourk should be just fine. If he gets rid of the tanks, if he can kill these tanks off, he's going to be in such a sweet spot. Meanwhile, we do have 6 Ultralisks in production as a follow-up to this. And with this low of a tank count, they are going to be super effective.
Yeah, there are a decent chunk of Widow Mines. A lot of them got taken out from the splash damage of the tanks, weirdly enough. Or some just burrow and get a couple kills more BAMs, and the tanks will all get cleaned up. There are still a lot of Widow Mines, so Ourk has to be very careful. I think his overseers did get picked off by all the Vikings, so he has to make a couple more to make sure he has the vision. And, you know, that was a decent hold. That was an army for an army, and a lot of the reinforcements getting picked off as they rally back into go for this base.
And we can potentially see another command center being picked off here
Yeah.
by the Hydras as the Ultralisks do chase those tanks away. But I think Ourk smells blood right now. I think he knows what an advantage he just built for himself, and he just wants to go for it, especially when he is seeing that Strelok just now killed his bottom left base. And, well, the natural has been breached, the ultras are there, the planetary fortress most likely could go down here if those ultras were a little bit wiser and not stumble over each other's feet. Meanwhile, Strelok is counterattacking with a Widow Mine tank slow push. This is the first time I've ever seen that
Widow
one.
Mines. Get ready, that Ultra gets vaporized, and the next Ultra does as well. So many Widow Mines here that Ourk has to be very careful fighting this. He is doing so much damage in the natural, and third base of Strelok. He took out the planetary. He's taken out another 2 command centers that were built, and he's going to get another 2. They get cancelled just now. We have a lot of Thors in production, and Strelok's bank is quite low. He's low in supply.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of the Zerglings, a couple of Zerglings did a run by on the tanks. And most of them got killed on the way, but one Zergling made it to the tank, and just then the nearby Widow Mine activated and killed one of the 2 tanks.
Nice.
Exploding on the
best thing
Zergling.
I've seen so far is a burrowed infester chuck up an infested Terran next to a tank which had a Widow Mine close to it. The Widow Mine killed the tank, and it was like super sick. There is a base morphin into a planetary fortress at the bottom center. Ourk is going to go for it, so I think it will go down just after it gets made. Of course, there's nothing here to repair it, so it will definitely go down. But like, nope, it does not get anything for its troubles. But of course, Strelok has now stabilized as natural, is remining from his third base. He still has his 4 base in total, so economically speaking, he's okay, especially with all the orbitals he has made. He's made so many orbitals. And actually, his harvesters count's quite low, but as we can see, his income is very high thanks to mules.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Now,
Yeah.
we have additional Vipers coming in. That is a smart choice because Ourk already has the hard-hitting units in the field. He has them out. He has them produced. He's got the Ultras. Let us see. So he's got 14 friggin' Ultralisks, hulking bags of flesh that they are, and all he needs to round up his army composition with is Hydras and Vipers. No evolution chambers being built in the middle of the map, so he will have to siphon off some of those hit points off those hatcheries, spore crawlers, whatever he can find. This bottom left base under attack again, but cleaned up very fast. And Strelok is counter-attacking, swinging to the top right.
Yeah. There is also a little Hellbat drop into the third base of Ourk as well. Now, there are 4 tanks here and 8 Thors, which is quite a lot. There is also a crap ton of Hellbats. So this should be interesting. Ourk's going for Blinding Clouds, get chucked down on a lot of the mech. And we should have a couple more Blinding Clouds. The tanks cannot shoot anything as they are completely blinded. And the army is getting a bit stacked. Splash damage is doing some good damage to Ourk. And actually, Strelok pushes it back. But he did lose a lot of army there.
He did, but we still have a lot of Thors here that are standing, and that was a very good engagement for Ourk. I really like the way he uses Blinding Clouds because basically that's the only thing that allows him to get into the range for his units to do damage. Now we see that Ourk's supply is at 191 versus Strelok's 160. But the army supplies are really close because Strelok doesn't need that many workers now. This base has been taken out, so that's a blow Ourk will bleed a little bit from, and it starts to look like Strelok is pulling ahead slightly in the econ, and that might actually win him the game in the long run because all those units that Ourk needs require really a lot of gas. Now, that being said, the Zerg bank is quite substantial and is growing by the second. There is nothing Ourk can make at this moment. He's full. He's maxed. So,
and he is running around. It looks like he wants to get the top right base that is just now morphing into a planetary. There are a couple fresh mules there as well, and a nice left will try and save it, but Ourk runs away with the Hydras, so they will not target it down as he is going to lose probably 2 bases in return for this counterattack. And so many tanks, 16 tanks.
Strelok positioning himself really well between these two bases and will take out both of them. And before Ourk can move back to defend, he might actually take out this base above it as well. Ourk deciding that he's too far away to save those bases, so in return he's going to take out this planetary with part of his forces, and the majority of the ultras will be moving back. Now, I don't think this will be enough.
This is going to be really intense. Strelok, if he sieges up, is going to have a really good engagement. There is everything sieges up. Ourk realizes it thanks to the creep and does not attack, waiting for maybe some extra units like the Hydras to come back and reinforce. The third base macro hatch did get taken down, and there is also the third that is going to go down as well. And Ourk, ooh, he's coming in from a nice position. It looks like he's going to go for a full-on flank, or he's just run into that watchtower. Actually, he's going for a flank.
He's going for
a massive surround. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the blinding clouds go down, but the mech army is spread out a little bit, so that's all the energy those Vipers had. Now these Hydras and Ultras have to finish this army before those blinding clouds do wear off, but they are starting to fall down right now. And those tanks are still alive. Like I said, I did not think it is going to be enough, and it wasn't. The Zerg army is annihilated. Vipers are trying to get back. Oh my god, they're really low on health as well. They're trying to get back a lot of that energy, but no matter the amount of energy they can siphon off their own buildings, their own brood, it is not going to be enough because they have no supporting units. 10 Ultras about to pop. Will that be enough, do you think, Pewee, to take this and hold the turn of advancement?
I think it's possible, but only if Ourk has them already hard-keyed, in a control group. And he has to deal with this army right now before the reinforcements join back in. Blinding Cloud getting chucked onto the tanks that are sieged, and it looks like this will just be enough to clean it up. Widow Mines are burrowing, and it doesn't look like there's any detection. The rest of the tanks come in, but also Ultras come in for the false surround. And it looks like it's just about getting cleaned up. No, it's so hard. Tanks coming from every position.
And this was the last army that Ourk had. He's almost not mining. His mineral income is still quite high, but he's lacking gas, and his bank has been depleted. And we all know that the mech army in small numbers versus equal numbers of, for example, Hydras is stronger than the Zerg forces. These Ultras are going to help quite a lot, but another base will go down in a moment here. If this one goes down, I fear we may see GG here from Ourk, and Strelok will take this game.
I don't think it'll be just yet. There is 15 drones up here that are now getting spotted. I think that is going to really be close to nailing the coffin, but there are like a lot of Ultras, about 10 or so on the map, so I think once he loses those, he'll give the GG. At this point in time, it's 113 supply V, just under 100, but of course, Ultras take forever to build. So, you can't always look at the supply really that fair. A couple of ducks coming down, and this army will get cleaned up. Hunter Seeker Missile gets dropped onto one of the Ultras. It should survive. There we are. Not that much damage is done from Hunter Seeker Missiles. Strelok is trying to expand as well, but there's creep at every base that he could take, so his economy is also not fantastic. But of course, mills make a big difference.
Those Vipers, man, those Vipers proved to be quite essential in defending Ourk and keeping him in the game, because, I mean, those blinding clouds, those abducts helped a ton. He would have lost so much more were it not for them. But if we look at what's coming out of Strelok's base right now,
I can't believe how far the creep got. It got all the way to the destructible rocks on Strelok's side. It's amazing. And Strelok is going to take care of one of these overlords. Bam. Bam. So he can take his own base. And Ourk using this moment, or seizing the opportunity while his opponent was a bit distracted. Unfortunately, he is not able to really do much. It's only Viper, Ultra, and a couple of Zerglings. There are a lot of Widow Mines, so of course he has to have good connections, and bam bam. I don't see him being able to fight this army. He is behind on supply, and of course mech is not something you want to be behind on supply against.
Yeah, and those Widow Mines, this minefield, Ourk cannot attack from that angle. He has to go around, but Strelok knows this. He has the high ground advantage. He can kill this base with impunity without fear of counterattack, and the only path Ourk can come from, he knows about that path. The rest is covered by the mines. So there's only one direction. Ourk will be able to move against this army. Strelok, of course, will do the sensible thing, push north and put the Widow mines to the south of his army to keep their protection for the army. Now, Ourk can run around all he likes, trying to take out bases. All Strelok has to do is lift and move his army about. Vipers getting targeted down by the Vikings. And this is looking worse and worse and worse for Ourk as time goes on, but it's still a really, really close game. I just cannot see how Ourk can pull through with no bases virtually, and even this base. Look at it, how it's covered in creep, every single inch of it. But it is a mining base.
Yeah, and I can't believe actually the creep started landing and. Pooping, and then the command center landed, but we do have another fight, blinding cloud going on a lot of the units, and Ourk had a decent trade, but because his economy is so bad, he just doesn't have the bank to continue to build units like Strelok does. So Strelok with the commanding lead now, with a 40 supply lead, 170 64, and also a big shout out to Strelok. He added Banshees into this, which is really smart because there is no anti-air for Ourk.
Exactly.
So these Banshees have been able to do what they want. They've been targeting down the altars because, of course, they do pretty good damage. And this base at the bottom left is about to have a lot of damage dealt to it.
Yeah, but it will stay alive. There's nothing that shoots air, but a lot of those SCVs will go down. There are also Zerglings to chase them down. And this actually, I was about to say just a second ago, 19 drones versus 35 SCVs, this looks really grim. And now it's 11 SCVs versus 19 drones. So, I mean,
just got taken out.
Yeah, but, the Terran, they always have mules. Now, one thing Ourk can do right now, he can deny mining. He can run around his Zerglings around the map constantly, wherever he finds a landed command center. He doesn't need to kill those command centers. He only needs to make sure that the minerals from the few remaining SCVs, and, oh my god, he just loses the majority of his Zerglings. The SCVs and the mules do not get returned to the command centers, and this is, look at this, it's as if he heard me. Wow. He's being so awesome.
I find it really funny how his Strelok's dead base has been killed off a few times, and the current command center isn't anything. It has yet to be morphed, and it is going to go get targeted down right now, so that could get killed off. It can lift, of course, because it's a CC. There we are.
Yeah, it's not morphing, so alright. So, okay, let's go to the unit counts, because this is basically what it comes down to in the end, with both players having almost, well, Ourk has near zero income. Strelok is still happily mining away, but only minerals. And that may actually be enough, considering Hellions cost minerals only, right? So, but Ourk, he's running really, really dry. He's distance mining, and
he's got a long distance mine until he can afford a third. As we can see, there is a drone on our patrol waiting to take that base. But even then, there's only like 1,000 resources, or like 1,300 resources at that base. It's not too much as a whole. And the Banshees are still here doing what they please. The Queens are now in the control group to fight them. And this Banshee is going to come up here and try and clean this this circling harassment. There's a drone even taking out a command center right here. And the Queens, they should fight this.
They should, but the point defense drone goes down, protecting everything that is in the air, and those Queens will go down inevitably, I fear. That was the only anti-air that Ourk had.
There's a couple Hydras in there, and it just shows you PDDs, man, are pretty good.
PDDs are pretty good, and Strelok still holds on to his main, still holds on to his production. His army has grown in size considerably. Last time we checked, it's already at 100 supply versus 30, and still growing. and Ourk is just running on fumes right now. Strelok has a very good Widow Mine defense with Hellbats set up back in his home base, and he's moving about. Yeah, he's moving about with Thors and Hellbats out on the map as well. And look at this, I really like this, even realizing how every unit is important. He has SCVs on repair duty with his army, repairing even the Widow Mines.
Nice. I really like that. And I tell you what's awesome is like you can right click on the repair, GG, well played, gets called out after a 40-minute first game, and Ourk loses it. Wow. That was a crazy game. That was like